Here's some writing advice. Stop listening to writing advice. Sounds contradictory coming from someone making a video about writing advice. But what if I told you that the very advice you're consuming might be what's holding back your potential as a writer? I'm gonna show you why writing true to yourself is the most powerful decision you can ever make as a writer, how to identify when expert advice is actually harmful to your creative process, and the unexpected freedom that comes when you break so-called rules. What makes writing good? Is it beautiful prose, fast-paced plot, complex characters, world building that feels real enough to touch? Writing is fundamentally subjective. What one reader puts down after 10 pages, another reader will stay up until 3 a.m. finishing. What one critic calls genius, another will call pretentious. Look at any bestseller and you'll find both glowing 5-star reviews and scathing 1-star reviews, often about the exact same things. So if you want to write the trope where the villain likes animals over people, write it. Some will call it cliche, others will actually like it. But when you're faced with a paradox like this, whose advice should you follow? Especially when everyone disagrees. I spent years reading all the craft books, watching YouTube videos, workshopping. I even have an honors BA in creative writing in English. And you know what happened in my pursuit of perfection? Every creative decision became a battle between my instincts and the rules I'd collected. But what if I told you there's a deeper, more insidious problem happening when you surrender your creative vision to others? When you adopt someone else's definition of good writing, you're not just changing your approach, you're potentially erasing what makes your writing uniquely yours. Your distinct voice, perspective, and creative instincts are your greatest assets as a writer. The books that change readers' lives are the ones that offer something they can't find anywhere else. A unique perspective, an unusual approach, a voice that feels like coming home. Stephen King's meandering style breaks the rules. Cormac McCarthy ignored conventional punctuation. Sally Rooney's approach to dialogue has become her signature. At its core, writing is an act of self-expression, and that expression doesn't fit neatly into predetermined boxes. When you try to fit your writing into someone else's definition of good, you're squeezing your triangular ideas into round expectations. Your story's uniqueness, the very thing that might make readers resonate with it, gets filed away until it's indistinguishable from anyone and everything else. So how do you nurture your voice instead of suppressing it? The first step is recognizing that your creative instincts matter. That strange plot twist you're considering, the unconventional character relationship, the experimental structure, the cultural setting that you haven't read anywhere else. These ideas come from your unique creative fingerprint. So instead of asking, will others approve of this approach, try asking, does this choice serve my story's purpose? Does this approach feel authentic to my vision? And am I excited about writing this? Magic happens when you follow these impulses and your enthusiasm comes through on the page. Not only that, but readers can sense when writers are writing with passion versus following a formula. The writing process itself should be personally fulfilling. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, there are difficult days. But when you're honoring your vision, even the struggles feel meaningful instead of arbitrary. So what about those traditional writing rules? Do they have any value at all? Well, here's where the nuance comes in. Writing advice isn't inherently bad, but it's how we relate to it that matters. The advice you receive, whether through YouTube videos, social media posts, craft books, podcasts, etc., should not be treated as commandments for you to follow. The advice and suggestions I talk about in all of my writing videos, even this one, is meant to help you align with your creative goals and vision, not mine. Every writing rule exists because it worked for someone somewhere, but that doesn't mean it will work for your story. A master chef doesn't follow every recipe exactly. They understand the ingredients deeply enough to know when to use them and when to set them aside. When you counter writing advice, try asking, what problem is this advice trying to solve? Does my story have this specific problem? And is this the right solution for my creative vision? Sometimes traditional advice will align perfectly with your vision. Other times, breaking the rules will actually strengthen your work. The key is making conscious choices rather than blindly following what others say. But what about criticism? What happens when readers don't connect with your vision? The truth is that not everyone will like your writing, but that could actually be a sign of strength. The most beloved books in history are also some of the most polarizing. They evoke strong reactions because they offer different experiences rather than trying to please everyone. When you write true to your vision, you're creating work that will resonate deeply with your ideal readers, the ones who connect with your perspective. These are the readers who will become your champions, who will recommend your book to friends, and who will eagerly await your next release. Meanwhile, readers who prefer different approaches can find other authors who speak to them. That's the beauty of literature. There's room for every voice, except for those voices. If you follow literature media, you know what I'm talking about. What's rarely discussed is that trying to please everyone often results in pleasing nobody. Work that offends nobody often inspires nobody. Distinctive writing creates distinctive reactions. So where does this leave you as you prepare to write your first book? Study the craft, absolutely. Learn the techniques, of course. But always filter that knowledge through your artistic vision. Always ask yourself whether this advice or rule serves your story and creative goals. Remember that as your characters go on their own journeys throughout the book, so are you as the author. Writing a book is all about the journey of discovering and expressing your perspective perspective. The world doesn't need a book that follows all the rules perfectly. The world needs you. What story can only you tell in the way that only you can tell it? If you don't know how to answer that, you should watch this video next on how to find and develop your writing voice. And check out my cheap digital and printer-friendly novel planning workbooks in my Etsy shop, link in the description. Until the next chapter.